Welcome to Wizard Team, a Black magical podcast for Black magical stories.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Robyn, and Porshèa embarking on a journey through the many fantasy stories written by and about Black people. Currently, we're reading Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, and today we're discussing Chapter 9.
Previously on Wizard Team. Oh man, so we are getting into the good stuff, into the meat now. We are finally entered the bureau.
You can ignore my notes if you want.
No, I just was reading that like what? He doesn't go enter the dragon. No, absolutely not. Oh my god, Bayana's note says enter the bureau or whatever Cisco said because. Of course, as if I have way to get me going on a tangent, and now I want to watch Drew Hill music videos. Great. So we enter the bureau. Magnus takes Amari down, and we get to the dormitory level. I am still unsure about what this building stuff is, especially as we get to this chapter that we're about to read. Is I'm very confused about I cannot visualize this, and I hope that this gets bought and turned into a movie so someone can visualize the bureau for me, because I feel like we're underground.
It's underground,
map, you know.
We're definitely underground.
We're definitely underground, but are we going further and further to the center of how far underground are we?
We're just going there. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to
hot down there.
Yep.
Yes.
Where are we in terms of the center of the Earth?
I'm sure the bureau has air conditioning, so I think they're probably fine.
I hope so. So we get down to this dormitory level, and also how wide is it, right? So is there is the dormitory on the same level as the auditorium, and the elevator is going sideways and not up and down?
I assume they're all going down.
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
I assume that they were the same.
I
assumed it was the same. I don't know how large the Vanderbilt Hotel is, but I assume it's pretty big. And then I assume that it's the same kind of width, but just
No, I thought that it would go down underground and then get really wide.
That's when
you don't have to go that far down.
When I first read this book, I thought it was like Willy Wonka. It was just elevators going willy-nilly. They knew where they were going. They had a system. So air traffic control, they knew where they were doing. Yeah. However, they were just going in whichever direction made sense for where they're going. But then the second time, as I'm hearing them read off the departments, I'm like, oh, this is just going further.
She keeps going down.
It's just going down.
And I can't remember if later there are any moments where they start going other directions.
That's what I think. Maybe, and that's why I'm thinking maybe I just haven't gotten to the part where I was like, oh, maybe it's Willy Wonka. I don't think I've gotten to that part yet.
See, I don't know, but we need to figure this out. Someone at BB Alston and tell him to give us a map, because I am confused. Anyway, so we get down to the dorms, and we meet Bertha. She got a problem. Bayana thinks that she's missing the Real Housewives of the Potomac and or Atlanta. Something's on TV, and she's being distracted from it by Amari's presence. We don't know what her problem is, but she got a problem and she got an attitude. And then we meet Elsie, who is not only going to be Amari's roommate, but is also a were-dragon and can read auras and is a master inventor, tinkerer. Because she's made snick candles and she's made a radio out of spare parts. Mm-hmm. So she's brilliant, and she becomes Amari's first and only friend in this Department of Supernatural Affairs. We find out that Quentin and his partner are famous,
celebrities.
Celebrity, Teen Beat type famous. Yeah. And they defeated the last Night Brother. And that magicians are bad. And the Night Brother that they defeated was a magician. And his name is Morrow.
I thought it was Moreau.
Moreau, the island of Dr. Moreau. Is that how I... Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you've read that book, I haven't, but it played a big role in Orphan Black, so I feel like I know it intimately. I still haven't read the book, but I know what it's about because it was a mainstay on Orphan Black.
I love that for pop culture. Like, you're like, oh, what is this obscure classic that I have no interest in reading? Okay, yeah, just put it in a TV show. I will understand
Got
it.
you.
Great.
Got it. So if you've read The Island of Dr. Moreau or you've watched Orphan Black, you are familiar with this thing. And so yeah, instant fast friendships are made. Elsie can read Amari's aura, knows what she's about, knows that she's worried and nervous, but also tells her that there's a good chance that she's going to have a moonstone in terms of badge levels. And Amari goes to bed nervous about this because she doesn't think she's as good as Quentin. And she has no idea what her potential is. And that is where we ended off in chapter 8.
Yep. We open chapter 9 with Bertha continuing to be salty, so I rescind my my guess for why she's salty. I truly have no idea. She's just a hater. Which is the running theme in the next chapter.
Oh boy.
So Bertha knocks out, like, bangs on their door and is like, "You're late. Didn't you hear my knock an hour ago?" And Amari's like, "You didn't knock." So then you're calling me a liar. So basically, she's just very antagonistic towards these children when she could have just woke them up at a regular time like everybody else. But
also, like, why is she bucking up to 12-year-olds?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't get her deal, like, at all. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, she's just like,
why are you in a job?
It's like, are you trying to
making children your adversaries?
Like, you're trying to sabotage? You're trying to, like, sabotage them and also.
See, and that's what I wasn't sure about. Like, did she forget about them? Or did she purposefully not knock an hour ago?
Right.
And then being called, but is one of those people that cannot apologize for making a mistake, and so then she doubles down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you calling me a liar is like, hold up, girl,
relax.
I'm just saying.
It's like 7 a.m. Like,
yeah.
But why are you ready? Why are you ready with? Oh, you call me a liar? Like, why is that your first thing you're going to respond to that?
Because I thought she was feeling bad because she noticed that, like, oh, she skipped them, and like. Personally, I think like that makes sense sometimes. If you like, they were the last people that she like, or the last kids that she interacted with at night. She might have been like, oh, I already spoke to them, but it was last night, not this morning. This is how my brain works. I don't know.
I was like,
I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to give her a lot of grace and say like, she accidentally didn't knock. But when Amari was like, no, you didn't knock, she immediately went defensive. And that's when I was like, why are you being like this early in the morning to some children? So either way, whether she did it on purpose or not, impact over intent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it's wild. But now they're running late again. So this is the second time Amari's been late. And it's not been her fault. Except this time it's just because this hating dorm person.
Also because they're like underground and so they don't get naturally woken up by the sun.
Right.
They need to they got magic. They should be able to be like give like they do that
False
in like
sunlight,
Star Wars.
yeah.
Like they give them like the window that is whatever. They should be able to do something.
Or like they do like the lamps or whatever that like mimic daylight. We have the technology, even in like.
Also, why do they have to rely on a knock on the door? Why can't they set an alarm? Like, why isn't there something that goes off that wakes them up?
Efficient.
Like, there's just a magical bureau. Why aren't the floors shaking or something? I don't understand.
Not an earthquake.
Just a minor one, just a little razzle. Like,
that wouldn't work for me though. That definitely wouldn't work on me. I'd be like, oh, it's an earthquake, and I'd go right back to sleep. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm from California.
No, these people are. If a lot of people coming from the same the Atlanta area, then that would be shocking.
That's true. Yeah, but yeah, definitely not. If it was it's not in California, so that I guess works. So. Elsie says that Bertha's picking on them because she knows there's no one they can complain to yet. And is like, just wait till we've been accepted into a department, things will be different. And I'm just like, that just feels like not okay, Betty. But obviously they can't. I'm like, what department is she in? Is she just mad? She must have got like demoted or something recently. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it feels like she is like you know, one of those like people that want to be a cop just to exert power over people, and they're not even good at that, and so they double down on like they become a mall cop and then are doing too much. You're like, you have a flashlight. Calm down. Like,
I'm telling y'all need to watch this Amazon Prime show called The Outlaws, because one of the like it's all a community of with Stephen Merchant, the lanky tall British man. It's all these different characters across like different like social realms, like a socialite white woman who's also I think lesbian, and then a black woman who's like a social justice like nonprofit leader, and all this stuff or whatever. And they're all pulled together in community service for some crime that they've committed. And the person who is their like probation officer of sorts, but she's not really a probation officer. She's just like in the probably the lowest rung position that can be anywhere close to any kind of like police command. She's in there, and her whole attitude is, I want to practice being an authority figure so then I can become a police officer. And whenever the police officers come in the room, she is like doggedly following them, shining her eyes like they can do no wrong kind of thing. And it's like, girl, they don't even want you. They're not even stunting you. But it's everything to her to act anything like them. Like she just the most minor of authority she can do, she'll do it.
Ugh, what a sad existence.
And that's what Bertha gives me. Like if I can remember that character's name, that's who Bertha is to me.
Yeah, people like that are unfortunate. Like, it's just sad, like Robyn said.
It's sad.
So Amari starts to apologize for like snapping at Elsie the day before, but Elsie, because she can read auras, is kind of like is already like, no worries, you're forgiven. So they're cool, they're on good terms. And they get on the elevator and they take it all the way down. So they're just going, I think they're just going further and further towards the towards the Earth's core.
No, because then also, sorry, we have to remember that the elevators are AI, and I feel like that temperature causes things to go wacky, and then the elevator is going to be homicidal. Like, no. Robyn is still at home. Robyn went home.
Yeah, I was gonna say you weren't even there. So they take it to this like, it looks like a cave essentially. There's a bunch of tunnels with neon signs and they're pointing in different directions. One leads to the International Railway Station, another to the Department of Hidden Places this way, or is it?
Just like, I love that so much.
So like I love the little like quirky things that like pop up.
But even when like
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, I just love that, like, the only way you really know for sure what's going on in that department is if you work there. So you're like, you know if that sign is misleading or not. Like, you know. Like, other people may or may not know, but you definitely know what's going on with that sign.
Right. And you're like, you might go this way and then end up somewhere completely different.
I would love that sign just, like, moves around. Like, it's like a mischief maker of itself. Like, it just kind of like, is it here or is it here?
Like, just kidding, it's not here anymore. So then a lady comes running out of the tunnel. She's the secretary to the chief, and she's like, where have you been? The ceremony's about to begin. And she like pulls them into this like auditorium, which I really like. This is like, it just sounds really dope. So it's like this huge cavern. There's a whole bunch of like glowworms that are like lighting the space, and so it's like it's an auditorium, but it's very magical. And while there's like obviously like more going on, I just love that like description of them going into this like gigantic cave, and it's super eerie and like dazzling. Like I don't know, just everything about this place is very cool, I guess. So yeah, so then it's dimly lit. There's a stage down with and then like a woman standing behind a wide glass podium. And so as we like look closer, the woman has like fish gills on her neck. So again, it's just all these like different kinds of people as we're getting into basically what's about to happen. But as they keep going, suddenly then there's like essentially paparazzi here.
And so I find this okay. So
that part, I was just like, okay.
Porshèa was talking about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is like. It's one of the things about this book that I really like is that you get to moments where you're like, this is so dope. And then you immediately after, you're just like, no, this is horrible. Why do they allow this? Mm-hmm. It's such a like interesting balance.
Yeah. Yeah, Porshèa was talking about how it doesn't make much sense, especially if you're going to have this like Department of like secret investigations or special investigations or whatever, to like have these people be so public, right? Mm-hmm. Because if I've seen you, I mean, maybe you can like change your appearance. I don't know, but if I've seen you in the newspaper being like, that's Amari Peters and she has this level badge and she decided to be in this level, you know what I mean? Because they are ostensibly like reporting on this stuff, like it just feels dangerous. And then also again, Amari's mama does not know that she's here. She is 12. She can't like consent to being featured in newspapers.
That was my main thought. It was like, she's a kid.
She's a kid.
Like, they're asking, like, rumor has it someone's getting a Moonstone badge today. Is that you? Or will you follow in your brother's footsteps and become an agent? If you join the Department of Supernatural Investigations, will you take up the search for Vanquish? It's like, she's 12. She just got here. She don't know what's going on. Like, and why? And why would this be the moment to be asking those questions? And why are they even allowing? And it seems like it's very like run of the mill. Like they clearly allow reporters to be there during the badge ceremonies, which I just feel like heightens the level of like pressure on these kids, even if Amari wasn't there. Yeah, it's just weird.
I just
also feel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to know one that like the whole consent and the level of reporting and stuff there that they also are, like they know that her mother has no ability to get like any wind of these newspapers. Like these are all secret newspapers or whatever and whatever news outlets. So like there's no way that Amari's mother can even catch wind of it and be like, oh no, I'm about to sue all y'all. Like y'all, we don't play that with my baby. Like she has no option to do that, and they know that, and they gave Amari no forewarning, and it's very agonizing that it's like mostly like for her, and they didn't give her any kind of clue what was going on, and they like there was no one who even prepared her ahead of her. Like Magnus didn't even prepare her for what she could expect. And then secondly, this is all the more reason that I think Bertha did it on purpose, because there's no way there's that level of reportage happening downstairs and you didn't know that like there was all this fanfare for this child and that you didn't like at least let her get there at a decent enough time to get herself together for all that was happening here. Like Bertha did that on purpose.
Yeah, Bertha is just a salty woman. I do not understand at all.
I wonder how old Bertha is, because I mean Bertha is like an old name, so I'm assuming she's like older.
I don't know, but you'll be knowing people who be your age with some old names. You'd be like, okay, all right.
My best friend loves to name her baby. My best friend named both of her babies some old lady names, and I was like, this is just what you're doing. All right, cool.
I love the discussion about like knowing baby Lindas. I was like, I never met a Linda who was a child my whole life. I've only met grown Lindas. I've never met a child Linda.
I've never met a child Linda.
No.
But yeah, so like I was thinking about this and I was like, maybe Bertha is Quentin's age and wanted to be Magnus's favorite, but Quentin was the golden child and she's taking it out on Amari, which gives, your favorite professor at a different magical school vibes. But also again, why is this your job? Wait, say it again?
I said I always assumed, I think that makes sense, but I always assumed she was older than that, but it doesn't give the description. It doesn't tell you.
She doesn't give me like middle-aged though. Like I feel like the pettiness is like a level of like haven't I feel like the level of like professional aspiration she gives, it gives younger on a younger end than it more than it does like middle aged, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking like maybe she just has an old name and that's like in vogue here. Because I don't know.
I
do not know what Bertha's problem is.
No.
But she got a problem.
We got many problems. And if Amari's mama knew about that, she would have a real extra big problem with Mama Peters.
Plays Beyonce's America Has a Problem in the background.
Exactly. So Amari's kind of stuck with all these questions. Part of her wants to let everyone know that she's there to find her brother, but also doesn't want to be the center of attention. I feel like it's probably not a good idea to tell everyone I'm here to find Quentin, but you know, she's 12. And she doesn't end up doing it because of her nerves. But the secretary shoos them away, and so instead they go to the like down to the stage with the rest of the kids. They sit at the of course the only like 2 available seats left are in the front row. But they get sat down next to a tall blonde-haired boy.
I took that as like reservations. I took that as like
maybe it's by but I'm like, is it alphabetical? It couldn't be alphabetical. Like if there's I
thought it was about like badge. I think it was
by badge, like
the front
order.
Row. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So they sit, and Amari's sitting next to a tall blonde-haired boy whose posture is so perfect he might as well be a statue. He looks at her and then whispers something to the girl next to him, and she snickers. So again, more haters. Like I just feel like every time Amari comes across a new person in this world, they're hating on her, and I just don't understand. Like, what is the problem? What is going on here? Like,
I hate the next sentence made me real sad for her because she was like, what is it that it made me so sad for her. She's like, wait, I'm sorry, I just was like on a whole other page. But she was like, I sink in my seat a little. What is it about me that turns people off so much? And I'm like, what?
Nothing.
Like
nothing.
These people are miserable. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You just happen to
be I think it's like the thing about you that turns people off is something that you have no control over and it's deeper and bigger than you, and that you probably would not even want to change once you feel more comfortable in yourself, because Blackness is dope. Having unlimited magical potential is dope. Having famous siblings, I don't know how dope that is, but like it could be, it could not be dope. You know what I mean? You gonna get invited to all the parties. I don't know. Like it feels like it is what you make it, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that like you can just feel how 12 she is in that sentence, and I'm just like, oh, my poor heart hurts for her.
Yeah. And it's hard to understand a little bit too, because we haven't, like, by the end of this chapter, not that people are given a reason to hate on her, but like in their eyes they are, if that makes sense. Like up to this point, she's just here, like she just got here, you know what I mean? Like she might be getting a little bit more attention from, you know, journalists or whatever because of who her brother is, but there's really no reason to like be nasty to her. She's here just like everyone else. So yeah, it's just like, it's super sad, and it like sucks, especially because like when we're introduced to her, she's in a situation where people are making her feel unwelcome. And so she's been like nominated to come to this like amazing place, and you know, she's supposed to be here to find her brother, but also to like widen her kind of like potential and her perspective and experience all these magical things. And then the people are doing the same thing that they were in the regular world, and it's just like really disheartening. And yeah.
And I think we talked about this a little bit before, but like it's not the only problem, but it's a big problem I have with these kind of like secret underground societies, when like you do all of this work to keep it a secret, and then you punish people who enter the society and don't know anything about it. Like,
right.
And I don't know if they just assume that Quentin, like she does know stuff because Quentin's her brother, but like Quentin's not supposed to tell. So, and he hasn't.
Right.
Or if yes, I don't know if they just assume that everyone joining knows or is from the supernatural world. It kind of gives you that feeling of like you're at an immediate disadvantage because you come from like what in this book they call the known world, and you're learning about all of this stuff in real time while everyone else has context and perspective and knows a lot of these things. But also it's not a part of the ceremony to further and better explain like everything that she knows she got in a whirlwind, like just what do you call that, like a wall of text from Magnus as she was also taking in a bunch of visuals of giants fighting and going down in this elevator that was talking back to her. Like, you know what I mean? Like she hasn't had time to like process what she has learned, and she also doesn't have the context of everything else, and so she is constantly feeling othered, and now she's not only othered, but there's like these expectations on her that she doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
I feel bad for every kid that came from the known world, and especially bad for Amari.
Yeah, totally. Because, like, they're probably getting very similar things, but it's a little bit, I guess she's just, like, hyper visible.
Yeah.
Just like Black folks in general. So,
in general.
Love that for us.
Wizard Team is brought to you by Black Nerds Create, a collective providing content through the lens of critical and creative fandom. If you want to support or partner with BNC on projects like Wizard Team, let's build. Find out how at blacknerdscreate.com/support.
So they sit down, and now it's time for, this is like the badge ceremony. So first, the woman with the gills on the podium, she introduces herself as Elizabeth Crow. She's the chief director of the bureau, and then kind of explains a little bit about the badge ceremony. So everyone's assigned a badge based on their current overall potential, but like there's possibility for you to be like, to what's the word, like be promoted, I guess, to move up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we were talking about it when a couple chapters ago when Amari was taking the little, like, I want to call it a breathalyzer. That's not what that was, but essentially the magical breathalyzer to see her like magical potential. Like you start at whatever your base level is, and then it's not like you're stuck there, which I think is good. So first they get their badge, and then they get to become supernatural. So that's kind of dope too. It's like the people in this world don't just, or at least the humans in this world don't just automatically have magic. They have to be given it. So essentially what this does is, so using the crystal ball, this crystal ball, like this big crystal ball, everyone will touch it, and then one talent that they have will be kind of like enhanced, yes, into a supernatural ability.
You know what this reminded me of? Inhumans in the Marvel MCU.
Yeah.
Where like some people touch the little, like, what was it?
Diviner.
The Diviner, thank you. And they would turn a stone and die. Ripped Trip.
I love it.
Not over it. And then some people
no, because okay, this is one of my sandboxes. The actor who
Porshèa, don't do this to everybody.
Should have not been the actor who played Trip.
Freaking Why are you Anthony doing this again?
Should have played Trip.
Not Anthony Mackie should have played Trip.
Should have been Falcon.
I agree with you.
That. Because Trip would have died, who's Anthony Mackie. I don't know, whatever. But no. Okay,
when she said this,
still not.
What was that? 10 years ago, whenever that happened,
yeah.
we were like, "How dare you ruin this? Make it even harder for us."
I was so mad. I was just like,
how dare you bring this into my consciousness? And now another however many years later, it still hurts. It still hurts.
On the sandbox. And am I wrong?
No, that's what hurts.
That's what makes it hurt. That's why it hurts, because you're not wrong. No, but anyway, back to Amari, and it just feels like, okay, so if you don't die, right? But like the people who touched the diviner, went into the cocoon, and then broke out of the cocoon and became inhuman, all had different kind of powers.
Yeah.
And so that's what this reminded me of.
Yeah. Just a little less dramatic. Well, I wouldn't say less dramatic, less potentially fatal.
Yes.
So it's the director says that like some folks might have a pretty good idea of what that talent is, or like which talent will be enhanced, while others are going to be surprised. So Amari is kind of like not confused, but just like not all that excited, I guess, because she's like, I don't really have any special talents that I can think of. And then Chief so like as I mentioned, like if you get your base level badge and you can work yourself up, and so the chief kind of tells this to the kids, like to not be discouraged by like what badge you get today, because so like for example, like she was awarded a wooden badge and now she's at gold, so, and it's like, you know, the chief director of the entire bureau. So it's like not something that, while it might be, I guess, discouraging to get a what they call lesser badge in the beginning, it's not like all they can do. So yeah, but also Amari is, again, like her confidence and her like not really wanting to stand out also is coming into play here. So like she's hoping that she doesn't get the Moonstone badge, in part because I think her kind of insecurities about like her and her brother, and like not like living up to his, I guess, example or standard, but then also she's like nervous about having a badge higher than the chief, which I kind of get in some ways. It's kind of like an interesting ranking system, especially for those kids. Like if you do end up having a higher badge than someone who's been in the bureau for however long, like, I don't know, the ranking system is a little tricky, I guess, but maybe not. I can't really remember. It sounds tricky.
Yeah.
So the ceremony begins. So maybe this does kind of go like what Porshèa was saying about like the order of the badges or whatever. So they start with the notebook paper badges. A girl named Aspen Matthews is the first to go on stage. She gets her badge, then goes to the crystal ball, and then her enhancement goes from orderliness to freakish organization skills.
I want that so bad, and I know for a fact if I touch a crystal ball, that would not be what I got. But as someone with ADHD, that could be what you get, Bayana. I think you'd have something else, but like Amari was like,
like,
okay, and I'm like, that is dope.
Yeah,
that is dope.
And that's also what I like about this, is that like the different kinds of magical abilities are so wide ranging, and it's like stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think of right away as magical, which I think is just the world building and like magical, what's the word? Magic system is really dope here.
Yeah.
But also, for me, I was thinking about like how it starts off, I think, on her level badge, but if she were to like what would that look like if her ability look like organizational skill wise, if she were to get a like higher badge with the same organizational skill like ability.
She could lead army. She could run armies.
Right, or even like
like
if she keeps like doing her thing, like, you know what I mean, if she keeps moving up in the ranks, she's a very far like way to rise.
Yeah.
So, you know, she could
but she had the organizational talent to do it though. That's
what I'm saying. She could become the brain, you know.
What are we doing today, Pinky?
Watch out for Aspen Matthews, child, or whatever her name
is.
You know? Like, I do think that, like, I don't know if it, like, you couldn't really do, like, politician, right? Because that's, like, more about charisma or whatever.
I mean,
but, like, you could definitely do, like, this sounds weird, but, like, how we all assumed Dick Cheney was just, like, the man pulling the strings behind the camera, right? Like, you find, or Rowan, whatever, from B613, like, you find the dude that you put in front of everyone and you just run this stuff.
But you gotta have a level of charisma for that too, because you gotta make those dudes listen to you.
Get them dumb enough, I guess. I don't know.
So Elsie kind of says that Aspen will probably end up in the Department of Supernatural Licenses and Recordings, and Records, filing papers. And then says that like some folks like the easier, less dangerous departments, either because it's all you qualify for, or you make it to 18 without passing any tryouts. So yeah, it just feels kind of like, I don't know, a little bit like leftovers, even though that's still like a necessary department.
Yeah, but I also think oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I also think that like it's a little, I mean, obviously this is one kid's kind of guess on what will happen to this other kid or whatever, because as we're talking about like freakish organization skills, like homegirl could take over the world. But yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is like the nature versus nurture kind of argument too, of like if you start off with that level badge, in the vast majority of people think like, oh, you're just going to end up in the Department of Records at whatever age you are. I don't know if she's 12, right? Because there's different ages here, but I'm assuming she's early preteens, early teens. Like if everyone, and I think this is like true of a lot of stuff in this book, like if everyone treats you as if that's all your potential is going to get you, or that's where you can go, then do you, unless you have some innate like ambition or belief in yourself, do you start to then believe that that's all you can do, and then you settle, right? So I feel like, you know, the Chief Crow talks about how she started off with a lower badge and then worked her way up to a gold badge, like, and is now the chief of the Department of Supernatural Affairs, like as a kind of, this is a meritocracy and you can be whatever you want to be. I also feel like we have to be honest about how expectations do shape kids and their self-esteem and like what they are able to do. So it's like sometimes you can overcome that, but sometimes it's harder. It's harder. Yeah.
But I also think that, like, and speaking about like the hierarchy of it all too, I really dislike the fact that like that department doesn't even have competitions, and so it's looked down upon because it's not even a competitive department or whatever. And it's like, that's a great way to like this, everything that's set up here for children to go through is a great way to give these children very big and bad complexes.
Oh, it's Gifted Kid Syndrome Academy.
Absolutely.
And we can see that play out even in the adults as they act, because the adults are clearly building off of complexes that they built up over time about the level of power and who should hold it and who's doing XYZ with it and who's right to do it, who's not. As we keep reading throughout the book, it's like, y'all, this level of hierarchy, like y'all started young and ingrain it, and then you look down upon people who are fresh into it, like Amari and her brother, and then Amari's brother comes in, and you're like, wait, where'd he come from? And then she comes in, and now y'all are being extra. So she can't even walk into a room without cameras flashing and getting hate from people that she has not spoken a word to. Like, really?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's really wild. So as this is going on, Amari catches the boy she's sitting next to glancing at her from the corner of his eye. When she catches him, he's like, "I wasn't staring." Which is like, you know,
the universal sign for I was staring.
Yeah, like right? Clearly. And then Amari's like, "Didn't say you were," and dude says, "Oh, well, good then," and then he looks away. So Amari's just like, I know after a while she's just like, what is going on with this? And like, why can't y'all leave me alone?
Like, y'all act like I'm the weird one, but then this happens.
I'm literally just sitting here. I'm minding my business, please. Like, please just
I was thinking about like
ceremony.
And I mean, you know, not to bring race into this, but race is already in it. I was thinking about how many times you'll be, as a Black woman or Black person in general, like living your life, and someone is like just forcing themselves and their isms on you, and you're just like,
bro, I
just want to mind my Black business. I just want to mind my Black business.
Right. And I think like a lot of times, like I've been thinking about this with like the Karen videos and stuff, like I think it pisses them off that we are supposed to be the ones that are like lesser and we walk around unbothered.
I think
and they are so bothered.
Yes, and they're bothered by us in particular. Like,
they're bothered by us being unbothered. They're like, we have set
but
this
not just us being unbothered by literally anything we do. We do our hair a different way. Ooh, what is going on there? Like they just.
Like,
but
girl,
I think the biggest time that like one of the biggest times that like resonated with me was seeing like, and this is probably, I don't remember years, but maybe 2013, 2014. When those kids were at a pool in McKinley, Texas, and those police officers just, and I'm like, y'all can't even play like, oh, these kids, like they were just going to a pool, and how hard it is for Black people in general to all like to know to swim and like have fun in a pool, and the history of that, and you really called cops on these kids, and the cops came in and like were brutalizing these kids in swimsuits, and like being you as an adolescent, especially when you're trying to like get in tune with your body and like how the conflicting feelings you feel about your own body, and you have a grown man touching bare parts of your body, like it was just, and that's what's coming to me right now for Amari in particular. It's like, it would be one thing if it were just kids her own age who were like acting a fool, but you got Bertha already. And then all these freaking cameras flashing and no level of consent. So it's like, where is any ethics? Where is any sense among these adults? Because seriously.
Yeah.
So far, there isn't much to be found, which is just like great. Which again is like what I was saying earlier about it being, it's like it's disheartening when like she's already coming from a place that's like that. You come to this brand new place that you've never heard of, fantastical, like all these really dope things that are happening, but then like some of these things are still the same. So yeah, so they continue with the badges, and then soon as they start getting higher, then the more like rarer abilities begin to pop up. So Billy Pogo's knack for being in the right place at the right time becomes unnatural luck. And literally while he's on stage, he gets the call that he's going to inherit his great aunt's golden fleece collection, which, you know.
What is that?
I don't know.
Because I was thinking fleece, like a fleece jacket.
Oh, you don't know I think it's a Bible tale, or is it not Bible? It's
that's what I was
like
gonna say. Like it sounds,
it's like Odysseus.
It sounds
so it's, I think it's both. I think it shows up in the Bible, and I think it also shows up like in Odysseus and the Iliad, where there's a golden fleece, like from a golden, I guess like
it's a
sheep or something,
like a waving ram.
But it's like the sheared, it's fleece, so it's because it's
so it is like the coat.
Yeah,
like wool.
But it's not a coat. It's just like the fabric itself.
The actual,
but it's fabric. Okay.
Yeah, but because it's biblical and like Greek and all that kind of stuff or whatever, it has like this ancient stuff with it. So it's probably priceless. You know what I mean? So it's probably just like really expensive, and like so now he has a lot of gold in the bank, basically.
My church mother is probably rolling right now that I don't. But I just saw, I don't know why, like when you said that, I was like, okay, that does ring some bell in the back of my heathen mind. But like, I just was like, and also because it's freezing right now in California, I was like a fleece? I don't understand. Like he got a golden jacket. How lucky is that? That seems
I mean, if
like
it's gold,
you're like, he got drip, so he's gonna be walking.
No, I was thinking
it's golden. So you're just
thinking he has a fleece made of a heavy metal that's not going to be absorbent to moisture and going to be cold and heavy. I don't know why. It didn't compute. I just thought that does not seem very lucky to me. But
so funny.
Sorry. Continue.
Jonathan Zhang his talent is hiding, and then he shows how he can turn his body into clear glass and announces he's aiming for the Department of Spies and Secrets, which I just feel like maybe you shouldn't announce that, but that's fine.
Right.
You're like 12, so it's okay.
But here's my thing too.
That frontal lobe ain't frontal lobing.
Right, and this is why there shouldn't be, like reporters here, because their frontal lobes are not frontal lobing, right? But also anything he can announce that all he wants to. That doesn't mean he's going to like pass the test or whatever to become that.
Or that his personality actually fits, because your personality is not giving spy.
Right. But even more importantly to me, at least, if I'm doing something that I think like spies are going to, like I'm going to be coming and battling up against spies, research is a big part of that. Why would I not just go back in the history books and be like, do I see a picture of this kid, no matter what he tells me his name is? Like he seems somewhere like he's around he's around 30. So around 2020, he should have been getting his badge. Let me go back in the archives and see what badge he got and what his powers were. You know what I mean? It just feels like there's like a paper trail here.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if he doesn't change his name. But I think my other thing is that I love how BB Alston writes this, because it's very like the quirks of it all and throughout it, because if you look at the names of the kids and some of the talents that they have, it's connected, and their reactions are either spot on or completely counter each announcement. And it's so I think it's just a fun way to write this scene when there's a lot of even bigger things at play here as well.
Yeah, agreed. Apparently also, people who work in that department have to get their memory erased every time they leave. So maybe he'll be okay.
What does that do though? How does that help?
I don't know. Every time but my thing is every time they leave the department itself, or they you know what I mean? I'm going to transfer over to another department, or every time they walk out the door of the department.
Okay. I read it as every time they leave the department itself, and I was like, how does that help you as a spy? You wouldn't be able to recognize.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to build anything.
Yeah. You don't have
maybe it's not complete mind wipe. It has to be selective mind wipe. You know what I mean? So that you gotta be able to keep some of this information.
Can't say,
you can't give any information up, but you gotta know that you work at the department. You
know, what am I doing?
You're just wandering around. You go to the department of hidden departments. Is it here or
right? Where do I work again?
You leave the building and you're like, what was I supposed to be doing? I don't know.
Yeah,
seems very intuitive.
I also think there's a TV show about this, something similar setup, premise of I forget the name of it, but it's on Apple TV. No, on Apple TV. Oh. It has the guy who played Adam Scott, who played
it's Severance, not Severance. Yeah, Severance.
Yeah, it is Severance.
It's Severance.
And I haven't watched it because I don't have Apple TV, but apparently while they're in the office, they don't remember their actual lives outside of the office. But whenever they're outside of the office and their actual lives, they don't remember what happened in the office either.
That's interesting.
Capitalism.
It made me think about Doctor Who, the something archive. I don't remember what it was called, but they had that security guard who had his mind wiped he thought every day was his first day.
Yeah.
But okay, moving on. Then there's this girl named Julia Farsight who becomes a medium. Amari is adorable and asks if it's better than being a small, which I'm just like, she's precious.
She's
That
12.
also
Like,
sounds
that
like
was
something. That also sounds like something my sister would say.
Yes. It definitely gave me Aminata memories. But like I love that too, because it's like he doesn't let you forget that like she don't know what that is, you know? And like why would she? Why would she? Why would she?
Right. So then Amari doesn't realize her mistake until Elsie says that Julia will probably end up in the Department of the Dead. Whatever that entails. And then Elsie, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just like, I just realized because I was like, oh, she doesn't know what that is, but she does know what a medium is. It's just her brain didn't go to.
It didn't connect.
It didn't connect because why would it?
Yeah. So then Elsie gets a silver badge. She's one of 13, which means that Amari either has a gold or the moon's. Well, she calls it the scary moonstone badge.
Anxiety.
So, man, she's sitting here like, for real, y'all serious? So before Elsie leaves, though, Chief Crow puts her arm around her and briefly talks about the benefits, the diversity benefits of having members who aren't fully human.
I hated this.
It's really bad, and it's like she's saying this because she is half Atlantean, so like she has gills on her. So like it's like I understand the
solidarity or pride or whatever, but
and like at least it's better if she was full human, it would be worse, but it's still not good because it's like not. This is like Elsie didn't ask for this. She's being singled out here. It's very tokenism. It's very like awkward, and then it's made even more awkward because then there isn't a big reaction from the crowd. Like they're not like, yeah, go Elsie. They're kind of just sitting there. Like it doesn't do anything good for her.
I put a note for like not the catalog kid. No, oh no,
like literally,
also, yeah. But then also I like it goes and maybe this explains what I don't know what you're going to say, Robyn, but I just think about Robyn's old go-to phrase about like intention versus like impact or whatever, and like okay, maybe you had good intentions, but you definitely didn't think about like how well's the place of the audience or whatever, because why is that the reaction that came from that? Like you didn't really think that through, and you didn't even like give Elsie like ask her what her preference would be for the situation. Right. Like would she want that be something that came up as she came on stage, or would she rather just kind of try to like blend in and not get noticed?
She's trying to leave, and then you're like, well, let's make a stand,
and,
like,
and especially if you do that like right after she does, like let her like give her something.
I was just thinking about the fact that like Elsie also, I feel like, identifies as Mexican. She was found off the Mexican scene. She has a Mexican flag hanging up in the room, and so like the double like I'm not human and I don't she's not white passing, right? I have to double I don't think so. I have to go back and reread her description.
No, or if she I don't think she is,
but she's not. And so it's like a double like
it is, especially because Homegirl is also white. She's white and half Atlantean, not like of color.
And so like, and that's what I was thinking of, like this Chief Crow is thinking about it from like the like non-human whatever, because she is a white lady, and so she doesn't have those like double marginalizations, right? And so like, but what she just did was like further single Elsie out when she's already had roommates be like, nah, I don't want to room with this you know what I mean? She's already been kind of like ostracized, and then it's like takes it even a step further.
Yeah. So Elsie goes to the crystal ball, and then her talent, inventiveness, is enhanced to mastermind inventor, which
I love Amari's reaction.
Yeah. She says, she's like, I would have thought she was a mastermind inventor already, but it's no wonder the Bureau has such amazing technology. They turn smart people into geniuses, which...
Do they turn people into things, or do they create an environment where some do live up to things and some do not?
I think both.
I think that's going to be
that's also the like point. Yeah, I was going to say that's also the point, but I think at this point at least both.
Yeah.
So so Amari's still trying to figure out like what her talent is, but before she can really do that, now we're at the point of presenting elite badges. So first are Dylan and Laura Van Helsing. There to collect their gold badges, and like, yeah, that is the Van Helsings we already heard about. So that's they are the younger siblings of Maria Van Helsing, who, if you remember from I think last chapter, is Quentin's partner. Which is also like, why are y'all so salty when our siblings work together? But,
right?
okay.
But also, like,
what's going on?
Y'all are getting gold badges, and like, why y'all concerned about me? Like,
yeah, like y'all clearly know what y'all got.
Y'all clearly got it together. So what's me?
It's because they are supposed to be the golden. I get this part. That's like they are supposed to be the golden ones. They're supposed to be the ones that are like the main getting all the accolades, getting all the attention. And I don't. And we'll see this with one sibling more than the other, but like, when you grow up thinking that like the world is supposed to like bend towards you or give you everything that you've ever wanted, like, what is it? It's it's literally like equality feels like oppression type of syndrome over here. Because how dare Amari come and like steal their thunder?
Yeah. So Laura and Dylan both smile and wave. They're basically just like working the crowd as they go, as they get to the stage. Chief Crow gives her a huge hug. Like, it's just very like it's just a lot, honestly.
Nepotism babies.
But also, and like very obvious though. Like, I think that there's like moments where, you know, it's like very clear that they know these people and have grown up here. You know what I mean? Like, they also have like that kind of advantage in that, like, she's giving a hug to the chief director of the entire bureau, not like just like a good handshake and a smile where it's like, yeah, we know each other, but cool. It's like, nah, I ran up there and I like gave you a big hug
or whatever,
or something like that. Like, it's just like very obvious.
They were shaped and molded into
for this moment.
Yes.
So Dylan goes to the crystal ball first. Amari thinks that he looks like scared, really scared to death as he's like going up, and she's like, guess I'm not the only one questioning what kind of supernatural ability they'll have.
I'm gonna just put an asterisk mark for spoiler, but not spoiler for this thing happening here, his reaction.
Okay. And then so he touches the crystal ball, and then he gets, from marksmanship, he gets physics defying aim.
He's Hawkeye, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. He's now Hawkeye Van Helsing. And then Laura touches the crystal ball. She gets so what starts off as fitness becomes superhuman athleticism. And then she decides to test out her
Black Widow.
Yeah. Oh no. Dang.
I mean,
you're not wrong. I just didn't even click.
Really?
It didn't even click for me. No, I did not think that at all. But yeah, so she shows it off doing a bunch of jumps and flips across the stage, looking like special effects from a superhero movie. So, you know, that Black Widow movie, they really were doing a lot. I mean, she's always doing a lot, but so now it's time for a very special presentation. The reason I expect we have so many additional spectators this year, which is just like, y'all could have talked to her beforehand.
Right? She has no clue.
She has no clue what's happening. So Amari's called onto the stage. Cameras are flashing. People are watching her, whispering. Like, it's just a lot. So, you know, it's very rare that a Moonstone badge is awarded. Even rarer to have two in the same family, because Quentin also got a Moonstone badge. So apparently there are only 13 in the whole history, and now she's the 14th to have this badge. It's a huge deal. So she gets it, and then she goes over to the crystal ball, notices, so Elsie's really excited for her. Obviously the twins again are salty, just staring at her, just hating. I'm just like, why do y'all hate? Like, why, what is this? Like, why, you're too young to have all this on your heart. But anyway, So Amari goes, she touches the crystal ball and nothing happens. And then, so it takes a minute, and then a plume of black smoke appears, swirling and filling the ball completely. A crack reaches the surface. She takes her hand away, the screen flickers, and it says on the screen, talent enhanced to supernatural ability, dormant magic to active magician, in parentheses, illegal. And then the auditorium erupts. That's the end of the chapter. I feel like it's very extra to have it say illegal in parentheses.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so this is like something I'm gonna just like beat like a dead horse throughout this reading. And I kind of talked about it with like just having that potential and like with the Department of like our supernatural organization, meaning that like people are telling you what your potential is, and then that stunts your ability to like believe in better for yourself or dream differently. Like you get kind of stuck in the expectations given to you. Again, Gifted Kid Syndrome Academy over here. If they are telling you immediately, like Amari has no idea what's happening. She doesn't have any knowledge of the supernatural world until 2 days ago. She didn't know what her brother was up to. She doesn't know what a moonstone badge is. She doesn't know what magical potential is. She's learning all this stuff right now. And then immediately they're telling her it's illegal and she's going to be bad. Like, you just kind of like are, what it's a self-fulfilled prophecy. Not that Amari will fulfill that prophecy, but like you are setting these people up for failure. And then we'll see in the next chapter too, like how you then are actively turning them against you if they want, even if they wanted to prove you wrong. Like,
well, yeah,
we'll get there, but
like it's just like I don't want to go all the way in because obviously like next chapter we'll get into it very very deeply. But yeah, I think putting illegal on there is very unnecessary, and also like, what are you okay I don't want to go all the way in, but like, what are you gonna do if she, like, y'all gave her this power, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like she just had it, y'all enhanced it. Like, how is it illegal when y'all did it?
Yeah, that was my thing when I first read this. I was like, if it's illegal, then how is it a thing that can happen? Like, how is this allowed to occur if it's illegal? I don't understand how y'all got this arrangement, but yet it happened. So how illegal is it? Because y'all set up the whole thing for it to occur.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into that more the next chapter, but it's also just, for me, it's like it's potential. So she has the potential to do good as well as bad. It's potential.
That's any human being in the world. That's
every single person. It's what you give them or how you nurture them or how you know. So it's just what you tell. And like, again, she's 12, so her external influences are like so much more important now than if she was, sorry, I always say, like, when you turn 30, something unlocks in your brain and you're like, I don't give a crap what anyone else says about anything because I'm tired and I'm 30 and I am who I am. And like, as much as people change, I'm only going to change so much, right? At 12, that's not at all the case. Like, you're such a blank slate. Your amygdala is not fully formed, as Bayana likes to remind you. Like, there's just so much more impact that outside forces can have on these kids. And so to tell them immediately this thing that they have no control over, that they didn't ask for, is illegal and bad, is like setting them up. Hate it.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's where we end the chapter. Who is the real MVP for y'all?
Clearly Amari. I mean, no, actually, I mean, it was, for me, it's half and half. It was between Amari and Elsie, I leaned Elsie because she is the support system that Amari needs in this time, and she started off not only supporting Amari when she's on stage and that, but also like coming into the chapter as a friend and being like, there's no need for you to like have a long drawn out apology to me, like I understand. And like I wasn't gonna, she was never gonna hold that grudge on Amari in the first place. It seemed like she was just like, yeah, no, like it's cool, like we're cool. And she uses her aura skills for good.
Yeah.
And so people around her feel good, and I enjoy that about Elsie.
I chose Elsie just because, like, we talked about, like, Amari has no clue what's going on, and no one besides Elsie is helping her figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, what does this mean? Or, you know, whatever. And Elsie's like whispering back to her, trying to give her some like explanations and explaining like what's going on with like the knowledge that she has. I mean, this is her first time here too, but she's grown up in the supernatural world or adjacent enough to it that people have talked to her about the ceremony, talked to her about what to expect. And so I just think that it's really great that like Elsie's at her side this whole time and like being her support system and also helping her understand what's going on, but then also like not taking it too seriously and still being able to like, even though, you know, they've been best friends for less than 24 hours now, like able to laugh at her when she's like, is that better than being a small, or, you know, so like just helping her like with normality. And I think that's really great.
Yeah. I made Amari my MVP just because it's a lot being thrown at her, and so far she's taking it in stride and is kind of doing what she can as all of these things are happening and as she's being made to feel unwelcome and all of that. So those are my reasonings. Benched is unanimous, looks like.
I am trying very hard to get to like one person being benched, and when I tried to narrow it down to one person being benched, it had to be Bertha. But I want to give a special mention to the entire supernatural world, I guess, because I assume some of these people, I guess, do all of these people work for the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs? No, because some of them are like journalists,
reporters,
yeah, fashion designers.
So, but F those journalists too,
yeah, like it's
where
just
is
like,
the journalistic integrity for freaking taking unconsented freaking information about a child?
Yeah.
So you're right. It is the whole world. You got it.
I couldn't bench them all, but I wanted to like make sure y'all knew that I'm not happy with you.
Yeah.
You fictional characters.
Agreed.
But I also
Bertha does not have to be as salty as she is.
No, so Bertha could have came correct. She's
but also Chief Crow deserves a side eye because homegirl, first you didn't take Elsie aside, like, and give her any kind of notice. You didn't take Amari aside, give her any like upload about any information about what's going on. You could have done that. You could have been like, oh, actually, Magnus, have her come by my office. I can give her a little information about what's going on in the world, and what to expect tomorrow. Because I know she shouldn't have any idea if Quentin did what he's supposed to do. So just bring her by. I'm gonna give her a quick little thing, give her a meet and greet so she knows who I am, and like talk to her about what she can expect tomorrow. And then if she has anything that she feels like, maybe I don't want to be in front of a million reporters, we can do our best to keep them from coming to the school. I'm thinking about Principal Gupta from the Princess Diaries movie, and how like all those reporters just like swarmed in whenever they figured out that like there was a princess at the school. And whenever the queen came, she was like fawning over her. She's like, oh, of course, I'll do anything and whatever. And I think, like, I don't know that she would have done that for Amari. She wouldn't have been fawning over her or whatever, but I think that hopefully she's reasonable enough where there could have been a conversation where this would not have happened the way that it did. And I think they're like, you're enough of an adult, you run a whole bureau, and you couldn't think about that. Like, you know how big the ceremony is, and you know she's going to get a moonstone, and you know who her brother is. So why wouldn't you do something to help her? I don't get it. You're an adult. Like, your frontal lobe is completely developed. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like something, like just some more support. Yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Not to leave you on a cliffhanger, although I assume you've read the whole book at this point, because, like, how could you stop at chapter 9?
I know, seriously.
But
so this is when it gets real, y'all. Like,
this is when it gets real. So I do kind of feel bad about doing this, but we're going to be taking a short break for the holidays. We'll be back in, I think, like 2 weeks. In first week of January, we'll be back to continue our read of Amari and the Night Brothers, and we'll be discussing chapter 10. So very sorry, but if you want to know what happens next, just keep reading. We won't feel bad about it.
Keep reading. So good.
Wizard Team is brought to you by Black Nerds Create. If you want to help keep up with our other content, you can check out our website at blacknerdscreate.com. Follow us on Twitter at BLKNerdsCreate, at Yana Wrote It, at Robyn_Rambles, and at Porshèa. Follow us on Instagram and Tumblr at Black Nerds Create. And subscribe to our magical monthly newsletter. Don't forget to rate and review our show. Bye.
Bye, y'all.